Yes, all right. I'm Mary Ann Sullivan, and I've just recently finished a book, one that I never thought I would compete or complete. I'm having a flashback right now, back to the days when I was just 17 and at a summer camp for children, underprivileged children. And I used to read at night to the children scary stories, funny stories, stories about animals, cows and ducks and chickens and what have you. But I kept the scary stories to the very end. And now I realize I'm telling a very scary story in my work, but a true one I lived through. And believe me, I was scared. And I still am a little bit. But I do feel that the people of America have a right to know the truth, and I am telling it. I would like to begin by first telling you my son had never done this before, and he designed the cover and put in the quotes. A couple years ago, going through my mother's things after she was deceased, I found some words on a scratch of paper written by an uncle of mine back in 1912, and I would like to read it to you as the book starts. If you are tempted to reveal a tale someone to you has told about another, make it pass, before you speak, 3 gates of gold. 3 narrow gates. First, is it true? Then, is it needful? In your mind, give a truthful answer. And the next is last and the narrowest. Is it kind? And if to reach your lips at last it passes through 3 gateways, 3, then you may tell the tale, and fear not what the result may be. As a result of this poem, I went on and finished my book. I will start with chapter 1. Love storms in many ways, in mind, in body, in spirit, in trust, in passion, vanity, ego, loyalty, hatred, jealousy and violence, and in ecstasy. Love came to me in many ways. Chapter 1, Rebirth. There's a short poem at the very beginning of this chapter. God did not create woman from man's head, that he should command her, nor from his feet, that she should be his slave, but rather from his side, that she should be near his heart. Chapter 1, Rebirth. Dallas, Texas, 1957. Pregnant with the kiss of eastern sea salts bursting through revitalized arteries, the lone heart returns to the emptiness, expecting nothing, finding it all. Stretched blonde's legs out of the classic white Cadillac, straightened the pink Chanel suit, walked briskly to the church to renew friendships and some essence of faith. The familiar form of the usher chides tardiness. Deliberately teasing, he leads indelicately through the seated congregation to the 3rd row in the crowded, hollowed church. Halfway there, the clink of a metal piece on the marble floor rings through the quiet chambers. 1,000 eyes stare. Choose to ignore, genuflecting fervently before entering the pew, then quickly, carefully stepping over legs to find one lone seat in the middle, relieved for a moment. Ears failing him, the old usher, still standing at the end of the pew, bellows out, dangling the perfumed black lace garter, "Is this yours, pink lady?" Echoing on all ears. Nodding, mortified, I watch the slow passing of the garter from one hand to another as though examined carefully by each. The church waits and watches. Thoroughly flushed, sit eyes downcast, until another voice shatters the silence. This voice, gentle, though. Raising an embarrassed face, the morning light streams through the luminescent stained glass window, illuminating the pulpit, exploring his features. Eyes transfixed, the face of a god. Not God, but almost. Unnerved, shaken, the returning summer vacationer digs into a worn white prayer book that sees no words. Hearing only the voice soothing the skin, rippling over the freckled brown flesh. The humble sound of the disciple batters the ears, softly, the meaning lost in the blood's rush. Try as I might to distract, wide eyes lift, mesmerized to find his riveted in mine, then turning away in confusion to return again compelled. The Mass continues. I am lost with him. Hardly able to navigate, steadying wobbly legs, walk to the communion rail, faint, kneel to receive the host. Looking up into his soulful eyes, bearing down into my being the breath and death of me is reborn. Outside the towering baptistry, the statues even seem to raise their heads as giggling women burst through the door, babbling with murmurs of, "Did you ever see anyone as gorgeous as our new assistant?" Oh God, my concentration is really shot now. Coming out of nowhere, he descends upon us, breathing his wondrous charm. As his eyes capture mine, hold them, and devour my soul. We stand thus, one in the other, lost in the ecstasy, lost to sound and beings, surrounded yet alone, together yet apart, aware but unaware, forced by convention, by reality to remember who we are, what we are. Someone is saving face. Marianne, I'd like you to meet Father Walter McCann. Meet? Hadn't we always known and waited for this moment? Recall at his title. Words come slowly, almost inaudible. How long have you been at St. Bernard, Father? I've been away most of the summer. His beautiful, melodious, gentle voice answers, I've been here since June. Had I known not even the Texas heat could have weaned the delicate frame northward. Silence envelopeth us. He is staring again, and I back, helplessly consumed. Managing apologies, ready to flee, unable to communicate. Escape seems the only refuge. Awkwardly, I wander to my car, tearing myself from him. Drive in an utter daze, pondering the immensity of these overwhelming feelings. Preposterous. A priest, one of God's special creatures, set apart, above and beyond our reach. Pure, holy angels. Humans. O God, embarrass thoughts. Shelve the passions into proper recesses and return home to my already woven nest and duties, trying to somehow forget the Reverend Walter McCann. Indoctrinated by Catholic teachings, desires are repressed. Each childhood summer vacation had drawn us to Pennsylvania. Grandparents and relatives galore. Affection-starved, I live for canicular joys. Grandmother doted on my brother and I, baking in the wood-burning cellar ovens, mounds of heavenly fragrances, breads glazed with churned butter, while stuffing the delights of apple mince or blueberry pies into our eager mouths. Mammy, as we called her, said, "Have another piece, darlings. The crust will make your hair curly." Something I had plenty of already. Climbing the carb apple tree, the world seemed small as I soared in my imagination to the ends of the earth. Another speck of sensual relief came as she would scratch my back, delighting and comforting the lost child, spinning delusions, sweet dreams of future love. Our marriage of a few years turned into a nightmare. Recognizing similar irrational behavior patterns akin to those I had witnessed as a nurse. 4 months, already expecting, the die is cast. Forgiving misbehaviors, immediate submissions prevail as birth control is denied by the church and 3 children are eventually born. The intelligent mind bows to the Catholic faith that insists a husband must be kept satisfied, and to turn the other cheek when abused, and lastly, that marriage is forever, unbreakable. Grit my teeth, force myself to endure the daily trauma of emotional disturbances, unhappily. 1957. After 8 years of insanity, the tide changes in the momentum towards a rebirth. Saturday, the name on the confessional door, Father Walter McCann. I cannot, yet I must. The left lane crowded, waiting for the other priest. No, don't. Might be too obvious to switch lines. The entire will wait the moment. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. A quick, drawn breath on the other side. Has he recognized my voice, sensed my person, my excitement? Or does he just know, as I know? It has been a week since my last confession, Father, and since then I have neglected my morning prayers. I've been irritable with the children, and I cannot say it. I should say I've desired another man other than you. Oh, but the words refuse to come. How can I tell him, possibly let him suspect how I feel? What reaction would he have, this man of God, who has seared into my heart, his eyes, his body, his soul, his total humanity untouched? How can I do this to him, tempt him, lead him astray in any way? His gentle voice encouraged me to patience and holiness. Sundays are expectant, exciting, to be lived for, if it is his mass, his sermon, yet anxious and frustrated if he is not there. Cannot help myself. Someone to live for. Now I must portray everything yet nothing in that one precious hour of Mass. My clothes must reveal me. There is no other way. Sedate, fashionable, feminine, and underneath a never-crying passion. During his sermons I adore his handsome features. He stands 6 feet, a stature erect with the rigidity of his form of discipline. His smiling Irish face gathers pronounced dimples on each cheek with a dashing cleft cheek. Dark brown hair that is slightly wavy. Father seems both delighted and disturbed in my presence each week. I sense his growing confusion as beads of perspiration dance between slightly furrowed creases. The lines deepen slowly as new waves vibrate his purity, challenging his existence, his manhood. A challenge neither of us had anticipated. Ruddy complexion turns pale, the pale delving into the heart, the bone of a man, the man priest. Holidays lonesome with a longing until now. Only for the children, with maternal love exist. Desiring more, I sent him the holiest and most feminine Christmas card, addressed in red ink. No signature, of course. School cafeteria duty. Lines of little innocent faces beam, then suddenly, his. Marianne, how nice to see you. He has used my name, a first. His voice, his awkward manner, his eyes say so much more. A hunger in them. I'm at a loss for words. Words once so easy to engage. The Reverend smiles his beautiful smile, children pushing, moving by. I like your hair bow or headband, he says. And then he's gone, and dead silence, gone for another endless day. Sundays approach the altar rail, kneels shaking, the nearness of his minced body. The nearness of my divine Lord, who has always been the only thought of such a moment, is now shared with this creature of his making. 3 away from me, now 2, now 1. Christ himself in the form of bread placed on my tongue, taken into my soul, given to me by this, his helper, my love. Days struck, overcome by his presence, I returned to my seat Sunday after Sunday, strengthened, yet weakened. The glory and agony. Watch him fight, struggle for control, forcing his eyes from mine, only to return, to lose his being in mine, to read the love I carry, the battle I too fight. I want to cry out my love forever, ending the pretense. The months roll by. With them, a growing fear, a growing knowledge. Mutually, without words, for we can say few, we choose to avoid each other. I exit one door, he another. Mass is our only communication. When possible, I engineer services at other churches with made-up excuses, and almost entirely against desires, we continue our sacrifice. Mark, my husband, is he suspicious or just jealous of Father's inner and outer beauty, as he frequently carries to my ears tales of their chats? Mark, always opinionated, states quite unexpectedly, "Father's really having a problem. He is in a lot of trouble. You know what he asked me." Mark draws a quick breath. "He asked me right out if you were a very sensitive woman." I deftly changed the conversation. Father's statement seemed to use my woman's intuition. Father calls a meeting to plan open house, a new concept to introduce Catholic dogmas to all faiths. Visitors will stroll through the church, sacristy, baptismal, and rectory as their meanings are explained by parishioners. Father invites Mark, and through Mark, me. Mark's company had their annual picnic on the same day. Mark remains, but I must attend Father's gathering. I ponder the propriety in my picnic outfit that afternoon in 1957 in Dallas. Dusty from an afternoon in the sun, our eyes meet. Father searches my outfit and body, secretly, quizzically, deliberately choose a chair opposite him, sitting in exquisite sensuality, calculating every move to attract, allure knowingly and unknowingly. Helpless in the power of his glance and the strength of his tremendous need, yet powerless to reveal or disclose even a smile to the world. My breasts rise and fall to the rhythm of his very breathing. Reality returns. Totally disarming, Father addresses my soul in front of a small group. "Marianne, would you please read the page 8, on the sacramentals for us?" Hesitate, blush, barely able to speak. Terror grips the fevered brain despite my theatrical training. The notes quiver in my hand. Does he know? "Read," I tell my lips. "Breathe a prayer and commence." The misery over with, there is someone clapping, and it is Father, standing, all alone, crimson. The memory work accomplished, I missed 2 rehearsals purposely, unable to stand the anxiety of speaking in front of my king. The open house arrives with Father's challenge. "Marianne, do you feel you'll be all right? Why did you skip practice?" I nod, already frozen. Pray Father will stay away from the recitation. There are both present, husband and love, hovering close by as visitors listen and depart, spiritually inspired. For me, this seems my personal cross, this agony, my special gift. I relate the significance of the cross measured for us from all eternity, bestowed with his loving hands, not one bit too light, not one bit too heavy. Now I must convince myself. Time to leave my love to say goodnight. Feeling sore, edged by nudges from the self-conscious guilt. Am I guilty of trying to seduce a priest? Love a priest? All wrong, says my conscience. I must let Father know I have misbehaved. Deliberately I place my hand in Mark's. Father must realize I belong to my husband. The gesture backfires as the Padre's sensitive eyes catch mine and hold them in obvious pain. No, I will try to encourage the truth henceforth. The heart regrets the meaningful moment and I must return to my life, the act. For I am not a wife who will give less than 100% of that which her husbands do. However, I cannot give the love that is gone, dead. The cross grows with clenched fists across the back, with tears hidden amidst the guise of delight. Mark, not knowing or feeling nor caring, accepts my act for what it is, an act. 2 intimate souls with a world between them, in the absence of love, a torturous endurance. Save sanity with devotion to precious children's needs, precocious, extroverted, too adult-like. They have been verbally abused by their father, lectured, dominated, upset, and confused, and ultimately excused and lavished. Love to excess when the mood strikes, as am I. No semblance of balance. Finding the middle road for Mark is like traversing the Alps. He is either way up or way down. We struggle with him on the seesaw ride, broken apart inch by inch, no hope of anything different. What is wrong? That I tolerate the mockery, the upset. The answer is strength. I have lost strength to fight the world. Learned brilliant father is constantly in demand, assisting the bishop or visiting dignitaries. Handsome husband, always excessively attentive in the presence of others, the portrait of perfection. Angel in the streets, not so at home. Kisses and hugs in church, he appropriately holds my hand. Cruel and reeking of his suspicions, he tightens his grip to punish and admonish my ever-abounding love. Carefully, I try to ignore displays of affection that will accidentally disturb the lone man of the cloth. The baseball team of St. Bernard begins the season with the addition of a holy man. How I long to go, but refuse myself the pure pleasures of delighting in his virility. Father already knows through Mark that I will be leaving east to visit my grandparents, just the children and I. Mark evidently tells him much. I wonder what Mark's confessions reveal to the lonely padre. Any or all of our intimate life? Mark loves to verbalize his sexual prowess, which is fictionalized. Yellow for daffodils this bright morning, trying to resemble the look-alike. Liz Taylor, yellow shirtwaist, matching yellow headscarf. I say goodbye with my eyes. He knows I see the pain, feel the pain. His sweet, uplifted face seems to be praying for help. Turning, holding the chalice of love, my love casts his eyes into mine, and there finds tears, smarting, stinging. Escaping, despite all attempts to refrain, down glowing cheeks. Communion unremembered, the last blessing, the last time to turn around to me. The frantic urge to dash to the rectory, throw myself at his feet, and pronounce my love once and for all. Immobilized by my panicky mind, I kneel, waiting for sanity to return. Vacations diverting, packing 3 children becomes a major operation. Ever faithful, ever loving Grammy, always the elegant, reserved lady, except with those she dearly loves. With tears in her eyes, she stands waiting for flight 629. This is our pattern, to escape the storms, to seek refuge at home. Home, whether on the New Jersey Palisades or at Beach House in Seaside. It is a respite salvaging my life and my children's. How good God is. How lucky we are. Many times basking in the sun, rolling in the blue ocean, I thank him and reflect on what would happen to other beings not so lucky. 10 months I withstand, but 12 would finish me. Barefoot and free, except for my heart's longing, I spread my toes into sinking sand, bare the aching body to caressing sun, trudging along with a hint of a song on my lips, until it arrives, the letter from Mark. Calculated, bragging, meaningful. Dearest wife, you might be interested to hear there has been a change at St. Bernard. The handsome Father McCann has been transferred to Longview, Texas. Of course, parishioners do not know why, but I do. I'm not saying much, but he has been having troubles, and I know about them. I spoke to the authorities about him. It's the best thing they could have done, sending Mom's boy out to the country. You know, one time I told him in confession that a parish was good as its priests were. If the priest was holy, its people were. If he was worldly, they would be too. Love you, Mark. My first reaction, shock. Then anger, loneliness, resignation sets in, with a weight that neither the sunshine nor salty ocean can lift. Lost, my heart shattered, scattered across the sand. Back to what? Nothing. Desert heat, desert heart. He is gone, but not forgotten by me or anyone else. Return, pick up the pieces of existence, barely able to convince myself that no longer seeing Father will slowly soften the pain. Struggle, fight depression somehow. Volunteer for the annual Christmas show. Stay occupied. Magic time for the youth. Lights, cameras, cues, afterwards about to depart. Shivering in a gray coat, adjusting gray leather gloves. A mirage appears as though out of a Renaissance cloud, descending upon the auditorium. Approaching is a young girl, wide-eyed, beneath magnificent brown flowing locks cascading to her waist. With her, a man in black cloth and white collar. Our eyes meet. My breath ceases. Chest pounds. He walks through with caution, only to break the silence with the crashing of his large frame as he trips over a prop between us. His confusion draws attention to our confusion. Nothing has changed in the 7 endless months. Words meaningless, so casual, feelings beyond description. Why, hello, Father. Are you home for the holidays? Nervous, not waiting for his answer. How do you like Longview, Texas? It's fine. I'm getting used to the change, finally. This is my sister, Martha. She really enjoyed the show. You did a great job with those kids. Well, hi, Martha. It's so nice to meet you. Father, I didn't know you had a sister, and such a lovely one. She's really beautiful. Surprised that he has been raised with a gorgeous sibling look-alike. He replies, I have 3 sisters. One is married. A moment's pause. What would we really say if we could? Well, he continues, I guess we better get back home. A lost chord in his voice. It was certainly nice seeing you again. Joy mixed with the fear of it ending. My aching heart speaks. How long will you be in town, Father? I ask, attempting to detain him, anguished. Just a few days. Have a lovely Christmas. He is gone for only knows how long. January, February, March 17th. An invitation to the annual St. Patrick's Day Ball at the Statler Hilton is a welcome change in an otherwise dull routine. Gowned in flowing emerald satin, a matching headband atop Irish locks, dancing to Irish Eyes Are Smiling, the feet stop cold. For sitting at a table, my Irishman is smiling in the flesh, in the collar, watching me. Try to recover, we move towards the table as Mark sees him. Flush bubbling, I say, well, hello, Father. How are you? And what in the world are you doing back in Dallas? His blushing face beams. Hi, Marianne. How are you? You look sensational in your Irish green. I'd like to say I'm here for St. Paddy's night, but actually I have been transferred to Sacred Heart Cathedral here in town. The reason unknown at this moment. Stammering, confused at the delightful news, I feebly offer, oh my goodness, Father, is this transfer permanent? Yes, he says, I presume, if a priest's assignment can never be considered permanent. An awkward silent moment, and Mark, annoyed, barks, well, good to have you back, old boy. That old prairie land must have been rough on you. Father turns to me, trying to ignore Mark's dig. Marianne, what are you wearing in your hair? That green band looks great. Compliments that Irish smile. Totally embarrassed, with Mark standing vigilant, his arms folded tightly across his chest, I mutter, thank you. He is daring to continue with this conversation as though Mark is not even present. He says, you dance beautifully, as though you must love it. There are just the 2 of us in the world, in this room, no one else ever. I do love dancing. Do you know how? No, I'm afraid I have 2 left feet. Laughing, he blushes. Mark coughs. Time to end this flirtation. His arm steers me away. We must be going. Nice meeting you, Father. Good night, and good luck on your new assignment. Leaving? No, we are being torn apart. as destiny seems to dictate. My God, transferred to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, of all places. For years I've gone there to attend the Sorrowful Mother Novena on Friday nights. Now what will happen? What choice do I have? None. 8 p.m. Friday. The fear, the knowledge that he is entering the sanctuary, that he as assistant is in charge of leading prayers and giving benediction afterwards. Father Walter turns around to bless us. Look down, O Lord, upon thy servants suffering with sickness of body, and refresh the souls which thou hast created. And may the blessing of Almighty God, Father, Son, and he pauses, lost, stunned, to see me staring into his being. O God, what to do, what torture for both of us. Yet I must continue the novena weekly. 30 women I have to explain an absence to. Do not want to be absent. The charted course intensity mounts. Father Walter and I have ridden the stressful path of purity from our first meeting, surviving the years of self-denial, frustrated desires, living with a gnawing love that aches and distracts. We remain busy, my family and his family, the church. We seldom saw each other, and then usually at a distance. The love I hold within sustains and keeps the body alive and glowing, viscera intact. As for Father, his sensual hidden desires must be an eternal struggle as he gropes his way, shedding the boyish shy manner that turns into those of a man. We wait apart, hoping, wondering. Twisted and warped, the structure of my 10-year marriage with Mark collapses under the fire of his smoldering mind, ridden with anxiety neurosis, compulsively possessive, jealous, domineering, and fanatically religious. His abnormal behavior lines the lives of our 3 precocious children, coloring all our activities, and still I remain. In desperation for reasonable responses, the escaping female turns in thoughts towards repair. In a tomorrow, our destiny, as we are thrown together once more by fate, the determiner. Ask me no more, thy fate and mine are sealed. I strove against the stream, and all in vain. Let the great river take me to the main. No more, dear love, for at your touch I yield. Ask me no more. I'm going to read just a paragraph from the second chapter which will lead you into the Cuban relocation. After 4 years of waiting and wanting, salvation looms along the horizon on a warm October day of 1961. A telephone message from my closest friend, a true friend, a rare privilege to have such a lifesaver as an acquaintance. Hope Larson is such a friend. Her first name synonymous. Marianne, she says, will you help me? I just had a hurried call from Father Walter. He would like us, you and I, to assist with the Cuban resettlement program as volunteers, since he has been appointed director. Do you think you can find the time? And from then on, it's up to you to do the reading to find out what happened with Father and myself and how we became involved in the assassination of Kennedy and finding out who set up Oswald in Mexico City. Thank you very much for your attention, and it's been wonderful. Thank you. Anyone that has any questions, please step right up and holler at me, and I will do a book signing all afternoon. I'm sure somebody has a question. Yes. Oh, she says it's a private one. Excuse us.
That's what I meant. That's right. It's something. There's places that she says. That's what I want. This place. It's so pretty.
Well, you're not supposed to split off. You kind of, frown on that, but there's a couple of folk stars in
Personalized too.
Then you know what you should do is put in the scalp. Maybe it's like something from.
I'm over here.
But you know what the do is
Oh, I got an article from the LA Times on that. I had to read this and grasp it.
I didn't look at
that's what we put out.
I sent Michael to go next to Laura and got
Paperback for about $7. They have them here.
I have this.
area. Go ahead. Because I think they moved it. They'll take
I don't enjoy that because I don't make my change. Yes, hurry up.
Well, see, that's what you need to know.
That's the
Yeah, I can see that. basically.
Well, I better bring. I have to bring the book back.
Is that the kind of Sony that? Is that the kind we were looking at the other day? Yeah. Well, that's 8 by. That's an 8 by.
There's tiny though.
And
She'll see. She'll see. There's too much that's the end. Towards the end of
Nice to meet you. We just started and we went into Best Buy, not spending money. And so we're just wandering through here. I know, I've already got offers. I got hung up on
Huh? Django. You in the music room? We did.
I had times to agree with her.